Hello, you lovely ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mengs, and today I'm going to be revealing the winners of the Advanced Wars Naval Mapmaking competition that I hosted, I think, a little over 2 months or 1.5 months ago at this point. In all, we got around 200 plus map submissions, and most of them rolled in literally the day of the deadline, so people were procrastinating a lot, so I had to give my map voting committee some extra time to actually vote on the maps. So basically how it worked is people would submit their maps to me. There were some very strict rules. It had to be like a naval focused map. That was pretty much the only thing. I did encourage high funds, but I didn't say exclusively that it had to be high funds, but that it had to be naval focused. So I think maybe in total I had to filter out at least half of the submissions because many of them just broke the rules and didn't they weren't symmetrical. People didn't read the first and advantage, stuff like that. So there were a lot of maps that just had to be disqualified. But the maps that weren't, I passed on to a map voting committee of around 10 people, and they all voted on each map from a score from 1 to 10. And then what I did is I took their votes, I tallied them together, and then I divided them by the number of people who voted. So let's say 7 people voted on a map. I would take their total results and I would divide it by 7 to get a rating. And then I simply just organized the maps in sequence. And as a result, we now have 10 winners to show you. However, I will go through some honorable mentions because there were a lot of maps that were really good, but sadly didn't make it into the top 10. So I am going to just briefly go over them, give a shout out to the creator, and just show the maps. So we're going to be starting with some honorable mentions here. I'm not going to be talking much about the maps themselves though. So first honorable mention is What Goes Around Doesn't Always Come Around by Banana Basket. There's going to be some interesting names in this video. Midnight Raider by Dr. Nastiest. Event Horizon by Squirts. Dancing Access by Burn IX. Whirlpool by Harmful Salmon. That's a funny name. Memorably Reclusive by Starlight. Maelstrom by A True Boss. Maelstrom Islands by Raider Karaman. Sinister Heart by OG Hat. Le Redoutable by the French creator. Aquatic Dilemma by Muff Baron Bob. River Dance by Banana Basket. Gemini Marsh by Pure Demon. Battle of Akitum by Dr. Nasty. And then lastly, East-West Passage. So these are the honorable mentions maps, the maps that made it into the final voting round, but just didn't qualify properly for the top 10. So just wanted to give those a shout out. Here they are. Thank you for your submissions, guys. I mean, at the very least, they're on the site, so maybe they'll get used. Maybe some of them will be added to the High Funds Global League. You never know. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now going to go and show you guys the top 10 maps. Starting at number 10, with a combined rating of 570, we have Befesselment by Star Knight. This is a cute little map. It is mixed base, which I really do like. So you have, you can see player 1 has these bases right here. I think actually, no, this is player 2. And you got player 1 with these bases right here. So it's actually a 4-base mixed base map, which is actually kind of crazy. The only criticism I have of this map, I mean, I think it looks a lot of fun to play on. I think it's a little bit too land-based, though, if I'm going to be completely honest. And I think that's probably what prevented it from rising higher. You have airports very close to the bases, which means that you are not going to really need to build naval units. In fact, I can see the entire games being played on this without a single boat being built. So it's a great map, but it lacks the naval focus, personally. So I think that's why it just made it to number 10. Now, up next, we have at number 9, with a combined rating of 575, we have 4-Leaf Clover. Ooh. So this is made by Bum EX, and I like this map a lot. It's very... There's a lot of terrain on this map. If you look at it, lots of shoals in the middle here, which sadly does prevent naval units from moving into the center. So once again, I'm kind of going to say the same thing as I said with the other map. This map, sadly, is very land focused. I do like that the airports are hidden behind a pipe seam here. That's really cool. So you can't really get to it without transport. So you have to build at least a black boat. You have to blast open this pipe seam, and then you have to build a black boat to get to the airport. But looking at this map, yeah, I like the pre-deployed landers. The pre-deployed landers are very cool. They will allow you to transport the units. Very exposed HQs, so Sami might be terrifying on this map. But I will say I would like there to be more water. Again, it's a great map, and I can definitely see battleships being built here, but the water surface on this map is pretty low, to be honest. So let's move over to 8th place with a combined rating of 600. We have An Ocean Between Us by Baby Maysak? I think Maysak is how you say it, Baby Maysak. I believe he's a pretty prominent map maker on the site. So here we have a very open map, and this absolutely seems like it will actually encourage a lot of naval battle. I like the mega tanks on the comm towers here, and the reason why I like the mega tanks is there are airports on this map, and you can certainly use bombers to take them out. But you can't just build you can build an artillery, but it's gonna take a long time to kill these mega tanks. And so if you want the comm towers, you're gonna have to work for it. There are airports very close to the bases, which is not great because again, this might just be Battlecopterorama, the map. But if you really look at the amount of water here, I would have liked to see some more reefs. Personally, there are like no reefs on this map whatsoever. But I like these dual harbors right here. This is what you call like a canal harbor that connects two bodies of water. You can move through with land units, but battleships and subs can still like move through them, which I really do like. So it's a good map. Again, I repeat myself, I would like there to be more focus on naval combat. I think there's going to be a lot of land battle personally on this map, but battleships are definitely strong here, and I believe you can also lock down, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think you can actually, I mean, if you get a carrier up here, I guess, you can lock down the enemy airport. So carrier locks might prevent air units from being built. And if you can make a map where you incentivize building carriers, then that automatically creates naval combat because your opponent will then respond with a sub, which will then go after the carrier, which means you have to build a cruiser, which means they build battleships, and it's just, that's kind of how you get the naval ball rolling. It's a good map, but up next, let's move over to number 7 with a combined rating of 612. We have Sandbard. I don't know why that name cracks me up, but it does. By another, this is a Burn IX, by the way. You will see some repeat names here because I did not put a restriction on how many times people could submit their maps. So you will see, like, a lot of people who made it into this competition. They're very skilled map creators, and they submitted multiple maps. So I think that that's why I think you see this guy like 3 or 4 times in this video, because he just makes a lot of maps and they're really good. Again, I love the things with the pipe seams where you have to blast open the pipe seam to get the airport, which slows down air units a little bit. And I do believe there is potential for carrier locks here. Absolutely. You have a very central body of water here, so battleships are going to be very prevalent. If you build a battleship right here, you can actually lock down your opponent's base. If you bring the battleship up here, you can lock down this base too. And I believe, yeah, if you bring a carrier in here, there's actually 2 airports per side, but again, you need to get a... How do you even get it? Yeah, okay, so you have to... In order to get to this airport right here, you have to blast open the pipe seam, build a T-copter, and then go around all the way. So that's going to take a long time. So air units will come out on this map eventually, but it'll be a very, very slow transition into air units. So yeah, I can definitely see naval units being built here. I would have loved to see these bodies of water be connected in some way. So yeah. Again, I fear there's going to be a lot of land battle on this map, and naval units might kind of be... They might be a little bit of an afterthought, but I can definitely see naval units being built here as well. Alright. It's time to move on to number 6 on our list with a combined rating of 620. It is the map Naval Clash by yours truly. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. I submitted a map to my own competition, and it became number 6. Hey man, I didn't vote for this one. Okay, I did not leave a vote on this particular one. I was part of the map committee. But I neglected to vote on my own map because I didn't want to seem like I played favoritism. But it still made it into number 6. So, yeah, this is a map that I made. And As you can see on this map, I've heavily relied on canal ports. So you can see every single body of water is connected to another body of water on this map. So you can actually sail a ship from one end of the map all the way to the other. There is not a single body of water which is not inaccessible, or which is not accessible by ships. You can go everywhere here, and that was kind of my goal when creating this map. And of course, because the landmass is so narrow, this means that if you plunk down a battleship right here, ground units ain't getting through. Even artillery not getting through. So battleships are ridiculously strong on this map. But you have kind of like, you have canals everywhere, so there is, like, submarines have a tendency to crash into each other on this map. I played a couple of maps on it, or games on it, just to test it out. There is an airport here, as you can see. However, in order to get it, you have to blast open this pipe seam, because you can't drop an infantry on this island here. You need to blast open the pipe seam and then drop it off. So you will get airports eventually, but they'll come into play really late. And if you get a carrier up here, you can airport lock your opponent. Also, some comm towers, I placed that there. And you may wonder what these particular 4 infantry are doing here. These are neutral infantry, and how they work, basically, is very simple. When the game starts, these infantry will vanish, and they'll turn these ports into ghost ports. I don't know why it works like this, but this is just the mechanic of the site. The ghost ports essentially work as cities on the water. They will repair ships and give income, but you can't build units, even if you capture them. So they're basically just repair stations. So if you capture these ghost ports in the center, you can use them to repair your ships, but you cannot deploy ships on them. So they're not that, like, you can't just build a battleship and just immediately lock down your opponent's base. So again, I wanted to make a map with lots of canal harbors where the boats can move in and out. To really, like, put the emphasis, like, you are heavily incentivized to build a battleship early on this map, just to block off the landmass. If your opponent builds a tank, boom, battleship here, you can block the opponent off. And it's actually only 2 bases. It's actually, like, you only have 2 bases on this map. So there's not a lot of opportunity to build ground units at all. You want to focus most of your funds on building naval units. There's a lot of ports here. So, yeah, that's my map. Moving on to number 5 with a combined rating of 630. We have Pirates of the Caribbean. A for effort. You tried. You tried. Lots of pre-deployed units on this map. You got 2 missiles in the center, which will create kind of like a no-fly zone, which I do like. You also have cruisers that are stuck on the labs. I think this is the only lab. If your labs are the only ones on the map, and there's no HQ, the labs become the HQ, so you can't move these cruisers off the lab, but they protect them, which is good. You also have missiles on the opponent's airports, so you have to, you'll eventually get the airports, but you have to build a battleship to kill the missile. So this is great. This is what we love to see. You also have canal harbors here, which will allow the naval units to move in between these landmasses here. And this is great. This is an amazing way to utilize pre-deployed units to force a naval unit, because the only unit you can use to kill this missile is a battleship. You can't unload a mech onto this island with a black boat because there's no shoals. So you have to build a battleship. So both players have to build a battleship to get access to the airport. That forces the enemy to build a sub, which forces cruisers, which forces more battleships, which forces more cruisers. This is how you get the naval ball rolling. So this is an amazing map right here. I really, really like it. I think I voted like 8 or 9 on this map. I really, really liked it. So you also have mixed base, which of course makes everything more fun. And despite the fact that there's a lot of land mass and a lot of land to battle over, this is still predominantly going to be a naval-oriented map, I believe, because the battleships are just so strong. I mean, just imagine, you get a battleship out here, you can lock down your opponent's base on this island immediately. You can even lock, with one battleship, you can actually lock down 2 bases if you get it into position. So you have to build naval units on this map. Of course, once the battlecopters come out, they will be strong. Because of this no-fly zone in the center right here, your battleships will mostly be safe from bombers and battleships, as long as you keep it around the missile, which is really cool, especially if you kill the opponent's missile first with your battleship. So I love there's so many choices for this map. You can either build a battleship and immediately rush for your opponent's missile so that you get air superiority here, or you can blast open this missile to get like air units out here. Fantastic map. One of my favorites. Really, really cool concept. All right, now we're moving in to number 4 with a combined rating of 669. And that is Azure Glue by Azrael. This is It's a complicated map. And I think it's inspired by Azure Blue, which is a map that is on the Global League. I can see the similarities. It's very different, but I think it's clearly inspired by Azure Blue. Again, we have pre-deployed missiles that lock down airports, and they also block a base that you have to take over. This is a massive map. Oh my god, this map is huge. You got labs in the center here. So many islands. I mean, I love this, right? You have these two harbors right here, which are canal harbors, basically. You got... I mean, look at all these islands. There's going to be so much black boat play on this map. And you have airports too, which means air units will be a factor, which means you definitely want to be building carriers on this map, I think. Because with a carrier, you can... I mean, if you put the carrier here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... I don't... Can you lock down it? If you put the carrier here, I'm certain... I think maybe here you'll be able to lock down this airport as well. So carriers can be very good on this map. Because there's a lot of air units here, and if you can lock down the enemy airports, you're going to be in a huge advantage. And of course, I did say that I did want air units to play a part in this competition because I love the synergy between air and naval units. My dream is to see like a fighter or bomber being loaded into a carrier, and the carrier like boosting them forward. That would be absolutely insane. I would love that so much. So really hope that happens. Really amazing map. Definitely deserves the number 4 slot. Let us move over to number 3, and with a combined rating of 676 is Shenanigans by Dr. Nastyists. This is a wild one. This is a wild map. Look, this is one of the most unique map layouts I've ever seen. So first and foremost, this is a huge map. Is this 4 base? I think this is 4 base. There's 4 infantry starting for player 1. I think this is, yeah, this is a 4 based, or is it 5 base? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's a 4 base map, yeah. Or is it 5? I am so confused right now. But you can already tell that naval battle is going to be a big focus on this map because of these harbors right here. You can practically wave at your opponent's base. Hell, forget battleships. You might just be able to rocket lock your opponent. If you can get a rocket down here, you can rocket lock or base. Yeah, you can base lock this base with a rocket. And you have these wonderful canals here, which will allow boats to move between these bodies of sea right here, which is really nice. You got the labs. I think those are the only labs on them. No, there's some neutral labs you can capture, so you don't lose if you lose this lab, which is good to see. But yeah, very narrow land masses, which is very good because that heavily incentivizes you to build battleships to break open walls and prevent blockades. So yeah, I can definitely see a lot of naval units being built here. It is such a shame that naval units can't move through bridges on a Monsters by Web. That would have been so good. Really, really sad. I mean, they fixed this in Dual Strike, in Days of Ruin, but sadly in Monsters by Web, they still use the Dual Strike rule set, so really, really annoying. I really wish boats would be able to move through bridges. It would make naval combat so much more fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we're moving on to the second place, and here the rating, you can see it shoots up dramatically. With a combined rating of 750, we have Pondering by Raider Alcaroman. This is a very small map. An extremely small map. 20 by 18. That's extremely small. And yet, a really cool map. You start, it's another mixed base map. And I like these pre-deployed landers because if you move them off the LAN, then yeah, because that's the you have basically green player has their lander over here, the yellow player has their lander over here, and I guess they might block this infantry's path to the harbor. If you keep the lander here, they have to go around, which will probably delay it by a turn. But if you use it to transport, they'll reach it quicker. So you have to kind of make a choice there. You have these pipe seams which you can blow open to access this shoal. Battleships are going to be insane here because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You almost have a base lock in 2 turns. You actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you have a base lock in 2 turns. So once your opponent builds a battleship here, you have to respond with a submarine. It's super crucial. And once again, you have pre-deployed missiles which lock down these airports on these islands right here. So you have to build a battleship to take them out before you can build any air units, which is really cool. Got comm towers. Really, really unique layout. And I applaud Raider Alcaroman for making a map that's actually pretty small. We've seen a lot of big maps But I actually really like it when small maps work properly. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at first place. With a combined rating of 809, we have Into the Maw of Madness by the one and only Nightmare of Hyankyo, aka Reimer. And this is a crazy map. You got a huge island in the center here with tons of properties that you need to fight over. This is so much money. You can't, like, you have to fight over this island right here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 4, 5, 6. You got 14k income just on this island alone. So this needs to be fought over. You have a not pre-owned harbors. This is just a first turn advantage. Player red will take over this harbor immediately. I will say this map does seem pretty land-based because you have connecting land masses right here. So you'll see kind of like there's 2 base here, which will probably end up taking this base eventually. So you'll get a bit of a base race. I think so. Because, yeah, you got 2 bases here to the opponent's 1 base here. You'd have an airport, but it takes a while to get to that. So, yeah, actually, I think how this map is probably going to play out is red will eventually take this base, and black will eventually take this base right here. And you'll see a west versus east kind of battle. But both players also really need to fight over this island right here, because there's so much money in this. And there are, as I said, there are airports, but they're far out of the way, and they'll take a long time to get to. So, yeah, this is a really cool map. I could definitely see this being on, like, the live High Funds League. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, those are the 10 maps that ended up winning the naval competition. So, as I said in my video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be hosting a small 4-player High Funds tournament, and I'm going to be using maps from the top 10 pool. I don't necessarily I might not necessarily use like number 3, 2, and 1. I think I'm going to pick the maps that I like the most, and I'd like you guys to help me out in the comment section if there are any of these maps right here: Fesselment, 4-Leaf Clover, An Ocean Between Us, Sandbard, Naval Clash, Pirates of the Aviabian, Azure Glue, Shenanigans, Pondering, and Into the Maw of Madness. If there's any of these maps that you would like to see in the tournament, please let me know. Because, again, I want to select the 3 coolest maps in this competition. Because with 4 players, we're going to get 3 games, right? Similar to my Fog tournament. Out of the maps that I like the most so far, that I would like to use in the tournament, is definitely Pirates of the Aviabian by Burn IX. I think this is a really cool map. I would also love to use Pondering from Raider Karaman because of how small. I think this is a great opening map for like the first game of the evening. And I do think we should use Into the Maw of Madness because it was the winner after all. So let me know which of these 10 maps you would like to see the most used in the tournament. And I'm just glad that we added like 100 extra naval maps on Advanced Wars by Web. Maybe some of them will get added to the High Funds ladder or the High Funds Global League. That'd be really cool. So, and again, I just wanted to show some love and support for naval maps in Advanced Wars because, as you guys know, I love naval combat. It doesn't get enough love. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who submitted the maps, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.